Hello again everybody, welcome back for the last part of day 2 of my trip to Cornwall on Bobby the Bullet. Seems like a long time ago we left Dumfries. It was just before 9 o'clock in the morning when we set off, and it's now nearly 6 o'clock in the evening. So it's about 9 hours up to now. Seems a lot longer than that somehow. This time we're leaving Capel Curig and finishing at Porthmadog. We're going to get a bit wet. It started raining just before we got to Capel Curig, and it doesn't stop until we get to Beddgelert. As with the last time, there'll be two versions of the video, one in darkness as it happened and the other in daylight. There's very little happens in the nighttime footage as with the other rides at night, so I've added a recap of the ride so far to the nighttime video. If you want to watch that one, there's a link in the description below. The daytime footage I'm using this time is from a trip we did to Cornwall in 2013. It was a holiday trip, and there are three reasons I want to use it. The first is that it has the best weather of any of the recordings I've done along these roads. The second is that it's the only recording I have of the section of the road from Pont Aberglaslyn through to Tremadog. And the third is, it was the first ever recording I did of a long trip. The only issue with it is that it was recorded on a GoPro Hero 3, which had no stabilisation, and the camera mount wasn't particularly good, so it was a bit wobbly. And I've added some software stabilisation, but I didn't want to add too much because I would lose too much of the resolution and the detail. So I'm afraid it's a bit wobbly, but hopefully you'll enjoy it. As we're riding through Eryri, I'm not going to try and roll the R's, or Snowdonia as it was known for a while, I'll be highlighting some points of interest. These were kindly provided by Ian Hughes, who knows this area very well. Ian has lots of videos of his rides around North Wales on his channel. So if you want to see more of this amazing scenery, go and check out his videos. By the way, from now on I'm going to refer to the daytime footage as the day cam, and thanks to Nick of Silver Fox Travels for that one. He referred to it in one of his comments as the day cam, so I'm going to use it from now on. Thanks Nick. Right, I think that's enough talking. That's nearly 3 minutes now. I'll chip in now and again to tell you about the points of interest as we're riding along. I've done my best with the pronunciation of some of these Welsh place names, but if I've got any of them hilariously wrong, feel free to tell me in the comments. Well, I'm going to get a good soak in just to finish off. As well as the rain, there's going to be a bit of wind noise now until we get some shelter as we head down to Pen-y-Gwryd. It strangely matches the day camp footage, although the weather was completely different between the two rides. Those mountains in front look magnificent, almost as if they're erupting again after being extinct for about 450 million years. Pen-y-Gwryd Hotel, coming up on the right here, was the training headquarters for the first successful expedition to the summit of Mount Everest in 1953. The junction just after the hotel takes you over the Penny Pass to Llanberis. We're getting a great view down the valley to Llangwynant here, and just coming up on the right hand side there's a viewpoint where you can stop and park and get a good view of the mountains as well as the view down the valley. Yes, a good soaking indeed. Obviously I'm referring to the rain on the night cam here. The entrance to the rather lively Llangwynant campsite is coming up on the right, You can get a bit rowdy down there. Probably best left to the youngsters. Not sure what the point is. I'm talking about wiping the camera lens here. When I was actually on the ride, I didn't think I'd be putting out video of riding in the rain and the dark. I didn't really think there'd be much point. The entrance to the National Trust's Aberglaslyn farm and campsite is coming up on the right. As well as the campsite, there are holiday chalets, and Ian Hughes was the volunteer warden here for a couple of years, back in 2010-2011. For anybody that watches Ian's videos, if you want to see a younger version of him, there's a great promotional video he did for the National Trust on YouTube. I'll put a link to it in the description below. I'm sure it'll make you smile. Dinas on the left is now owned by the National Trust and was bought with the help of Sir Anthony Hopkins, no less. This car was going so slowly that I had to speed up the daycam footage to keep pace with the night cam, so it makes the overtake manoeuvre look a little bit risky, but it wasn't. In real time, and with the power of the K1600, there was plenty of room to overtake. The entrance to the Sigan copper mine is coming up on the left. Copper was first mined here by the Romans, and then mining was expanded considerably during the Industrial Revolution. The mine is probably well worth a visit if you don't mind going underground. Crevlewin Hall, coming up on the right, was formerly the National Trust regional offices. Now it's run by a walking holiday company. There are lots of walks on the estate, including the walk to the Giant's Chair that you can see in the picture. Ian was temporary warden here for a while and lived in the gatehouse at the entrance. The first building on the left over the bridge is T Isav, the National Trust shop. It's the oldest house in the village and was built in the 1500s. Ian's wife Anne was shop manager here for a couple of years. The road on the right just before the Royal Goat Hotel takes you down to Beddgelert station. The station is on the Welsh Highland Railway, which runs from Porthmadog through to Carnarvon. It passes through some incredible scenery you don't get to see from the road. We nearly took a trip on this train on the holiday you're watching now, but when we went to Porthmadog to check it out, it was absolutely mobbed. This was August, close to bank holiday, so we had no chance. You can catch glimpses of the railway line through the trees running along the other side of Aberglaslyn Gorge. I remember walking along there when I was very young, before the railway was restored in the 60s and 70s. you take the turning on the left over the bridge, Pont Aberglaslyn, it takes you through to Pen-y-Gwryd and onto Harlech. Okay, that's the end of the points of interest from Ian Hughes. Thanks very much, Ian. Very much appreciated. And as I said, if the rest of you want to see more of this amazing scenery, go and check out Ian's videos. spent a few weekends at the caravan park coming up on the right when I was young, nearly 60 years ago now. Back then I remember it as the Tremadog Caravan Park. It's known as the Aberglaslyn Hall Holiday Park now. Maybe it always was. It was a long time ago. I remember we were dragged all around the hills at the back of the park by my mum and dad, but us youngsters definitely preferred being on the beach at Harlech. Okay, we've reached the end of day 2. We've finally arrived at Porthmadog. On day 3 we begin the last leg of the journey down to Cornwall. In part 1 we'll be leaving Porthmadog and reaching Barmouth. So thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you've been watching from the start of the series and you're still here, you're doing well. But remember, we're only a third of the way through. Long way to go yet. Anyway, thanks for subscribing if you have done. Thanks for your comments and your likes. And I'll speak to you again when we start day 3. Bye for now.